Hello, this is Patrick with the Works Hub. Today I want to share a little bit about one of the items that we recently came out with on one of our releases to our clients. So this is something that's free to you if you're already using the QA survey and inspection application. If not, we can get you some more information on this, but um, surveys is always something that we've been able to make available in a way that you can kind of walk around and do certain types of inspections or quality assurance checks. And traditionally, our clients have been able to sort of custom create their own surveys. But in this most recent release that we had a couple weeks ago, we actually published a master level survey template. This was sort of based from a release that CMS had sort of come out from guidance from the CDC. So we thought we could essentially publish it in the highest level of the Works Hub for the mothership, and that you can have a way to go in and activate it at your local account, make it your own, use it as a surveying tool, and that you would get some sort of insight into sort of how you're performing, how you're stacking up, and where you can get better. So I want to show you a little bit about how that might work. So if you're in your version of the software and you go to your settings portion here, and again, if you're using the QA and surveys inspections tool, this should pop up here, the third tab in. And now if we were to go through and create a sort of new survey, we've got a few options that have traditionally popped up. The ability to do quality surveys, which include a scale, perhaps from 1 to 5, 1 to 10, pass-fail inspections. And then now you'll be able to see this COVID-19 survey specifically for nursing homes to show up. If you want to preview it, there's just a sample function here that can sort of give you a look of how that would print out. It's about 66 questions all said and done, covering everything from infection surveillance, visitor policies, hand hygiene. So you can sort of go through it, but that's kind of the sample view. If you'd like to put it into use, click on, actually got to give it a name. Give it a name, use this, and then essentially it will preview all of the questions. And this is where you can start to tinker with it a little bit. Once you've published it in your version of the software, then you can go through, set up things like additional questions. You can set up triggered actions. So if I were to fail one of these items, what would be one of the outcomes or corrective actions we'd want to take in those instances? You can reorder these things. We've got headers already built in, but you could obviously tinker with those as you see fit. So you would review all these, hopefully find some value and some things that apply if you have sort of a nursing home capability. And if it looks good, bottom right, you go to your settings function. You would sort of determine, how many days it would stay open. And then once you go through, go ahead and publish it, you're good to go. So once you've kind of set it up the way that you want, we looked at the printed version. The other option would be to do something like actually completing this from a mobile device. So for many of our clients, you're already using this for using things like closing out work orders or adding new work orders, doing planned maintenance. But if you're using the surveying tool, you could actually go through and score these questions as you're evaluating your site in real time. Now, if you're finding particular issues, you have the ability to mark these up on the spot. So if you're noticing certain items that pop up, you can go through, add comments, put in corrective actions. And as I mentioned before, we can actually fail these items, and you'll sort of have the ability to put in some corrective work order templates on this. So if we noticed that we needed to refill or relocate some hand sanitizer, we could trigger it that way. If this was an alert, something we needed to forward to another area, this is something where we can create these other teams within here and say, for clinical, I want to route this to a unit manager and say, hey, we noticed your staff wasn't quite doing this item or that. and be able to route that to the responsible party. So there's some things that we can do sort of inside of that. So all these results can get cataloged, action items sort of identified as they're being popped up. And then if we were to complete the survey, really any items that you're finding come back to a central place where you can say, what are all the issues that we found? We looked at our visitor entry policy, and I noticed that we had some, some signage that wasn't ideal for visitors. So that's something that we created as an alert went to a particular user. So I think there's some ways that you can start to leverage this in a way that you can really review your policies and make sure you have the safest environment possible. So hopefully that's helpful. As we're continuing to go down this road of publishing master level survey templates, let us know what you sort of want to see. We've got some ideas, but we've always been pretty receptive to some ideas out in the market. So if there's things that you want to see, if it's a weekly inspection that's going to be more detailed, give us feedback. I would love to hear about it. So hopefully this is helpful. Thanks so much. Have a great day.